welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcasts. I am Justin, here with Meelz. What's good, Meelz?
I'm the king of PTO this week because
A lot of
I
people
am.
the Kings of PTO and wrestling this week.
Hey, man. Well, listen, shout out to them. But me, you'll always catch me the week before Labor Day, taking the week off, adding that extra Monday as well, not doing any labor. Because this is really, to be honest with you, this is the portion of the time during the year where nothing gets done. There's multiple pockets of the year where nothing gets done. But realistically, don't expect anything until after Labor Day. And then it's the mad sprint until Thanksgiving, and then don't expect anything from Thanksgiving until 2024.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. It's pretty much dead.
Yeah.
It's dead after that. Yeah, we have a lot to go over today. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to bury any leads. I don't want to we really got to get to it because there's just so much like in the weeds of what happened with last weekend in wrestling. We of course have a pay-per-view to predict and another pay-per-view to I guess talk about because we don't really know what's going to happen with it, but we have a special guest today. And this guy is somebody who's been in our Discord for quite some time. He's now a Hall of Fame member, of course, and he's someone that we all love to pick on him. You know what I mean? He's like our little bro in the chat, and I love this guy. He's constantly one of the funniest parts of me going into the Discord every single day. But of course, we got to welcome DMVFan to the show.
Hey, you guys watched like that SpongeBob episode where like SpongeBob and Patrick were selling the chocolate, and then they got to this crazy fish's house, and he was like, "Chocolate, chocolate," and then he was like running, like chasing them around the whole episode.
Yeah.
I'm like that fish. I've been trying to get on this podcast forever. Like I was like two numbers away from being on it like a few months ago, but I'm finally here. I'm excited to talk wrestling with you guys. You guys were my gateway into wrestling actually. So
Yeah.
like a week after I started watching, I found this podcast because I was following J5 because of his video game tweets, and I found out he had a wrestling podcast. So I tuned in, been listening since September 21. The rest is history. So
Wow. And it's
thank you
funny.
for.
It's funny because I can't even tweet about video games anymore.
Nice. This is so funny. Well, bro, thank you first of all for joining us. Thank you for becoming a Hall of Fame patron. Um, and just really, everything that's coming your way. Did you get a shirt?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've worn that short shirt to like two wrestling events already. So
All right.
I've
Well,
even.
we definitely gonna have another one coming your way once the next merch is ideated. It's definitely coming your way. So don't even worry about that. You don't have to purchase it. You don't have to do nothing. You a Hall of Fame patron. It's already in the bag for you. We already got one set up for you.
Oh, fantastic! I know we got a lot to get to, but maybe maybe we could spend a minute on this because I've been thinking about this topic for like a week, and I just wanted to like
Mhm.
get to it. So
Yeah, go ahead.
the
Hey, we work for you. Go ahead.
All right. So, the 19th anniversary of Def Jam Fight for New York is next month. And, when the topic of dormant game franchises that people want to see a comeback come up, Def Jam's one that often gets mentioned. So, do you guys think a Def Jam game's viable in 2023? What changes do you think? Uh, they should make to it to make it appealing to both the old generation that played it back in the days, as well as appeal to the new generation today.
Yeah, I listen. I love Def Jam Vendetta. I love Def Jam Fight for New York. I don't know if you ever played it, Mills. You played it?
Yes, I actually played both of them. This is one of the like rare pockets of my life where I actually own the console. So yes,
Okay.
I did play them.
So I think it's in terms of viability. DMV. It's a little tough for the Def Jam license because like right now, like what does it mean? You know what I mean? What does the Def Jam license mean right now? Who's even signed there? Like other than
Oh, I got a list. So
shit. Well, I already know Wale's there. I already know Wale's there. Oh, did he announce that yet? Oh my god, don't say that. You didn't hear me say that. Go ahead though.
we can edit this. So Justin Bieber,
I'm not
DJ
editing.
Khaled,
I edited shit. Go ahead.
DJ Khaled, 2 Chainz, Dave East, Rihanna, Jeezy, Jeremiah, Pusha T, Fabulous, Jhené Aiko, Coco Jones, YG, Money Long, Bannon,
Okay, hold on.
Benny the Butcher. Yeah,
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I don't know if that's
Frankenstein.
I don't know if that's the roster. That's like they'll have to get guests, right? They'll have to obviously
Yeah,
get a lot of people to come in.
First of all, quick thing before you think it. If Fabulous is still on Def Jam, that man has been locked in for like 3 decades at this point.
You got a lifetime deal, bro. Lifetime deal there. But I think it's tough. Like the music industry is tough now. Like we have rappers that are signed to like agencies. So like everyone wants a fair shake. Everyone's gonna have to get paid differently. It's not like NBA where the NBA pretty much kind of determines what these athletes are going to get paid and they work that out with their union. The rappers don't really have that. So I think that in terms of viability for having rappers in the game, I would expect there to be very few if they did make a new one. Like I could expect like maybe Snoop Dogg will come back because he does everything. Fat Joe will probably come back because he's notoriously one of the hardest bosses, in video game history. But I think,
that 2-on-1 like junkyard fight,
yeah,
a 2-on-2 with Method Man half health. Yeah.
yeah, that shit was crazy. So I think in terms of what they could do, obviously, I don't think Aki will work on it again. We saw what Aki's doing with Fight Forever. I don't know if they're actually contracted over to AEW, and obviously they have their own issues as well with that. Making sure that game is up to where it's supposed to be. But I would love to see somebody else take over the game and maybe create a new engine for it. I think it's definitely something people would be interested in. But I would I would caution anyone that wanted a new game like this to be warned that there might be streamers in the game. Kai Cenat might be in it. You know what I mean? Like
Drewski.
exactly. It's going to be a lot different than what everyone remembered it as back in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Also, might have that Fight Forever engine too. Let me shut up. You can't, Justin. Say nothing.
That's why I said I didn't know if Aki would work on it because I think that they're contracted out to AEW as of right now. So like if they were to start working on it, it would have to be a different developer with a different engine. So
absolutely, you're right.
We haven't seen anything like Def Jam Fight for New York, Def Jam Vendetta in quite some time. So, we'll see. But I definitely think that, as far as it being the anniversary, that's crazy that we still can't play it anywhere. You know what I mean? Like they haven't brought it over to digital. And again, because it is like
licensing would be hard. Yeah.
Yeah, licensing's tough. You got samples in some of those songs and stuff. Like you have artists that aren't signed to that label anymore. Who do they own their music? Do they not own their music? It's the same stuff that GTA runs into every year or every couple years with GTA 3 and 4 and 5 and online, where they take the songs out sometimes and then they have to put the songs back in because they lose licensing rights for the song. So it would be tough. It would be really tough. But I would love to see it. I definitely think that there's a audience that would love that, especially for Black people that just love to have games that are really structured for them and for us. You know what I mean? I think that'd be really awesome.
I knew I could get a lot of mileage out of this topic because you guys are both ingrained in hip hop culture, and I know J5, you have a position in that video game sphere. I'm not gonna.
No, it's cool. No, it's fine. Completely fine. Yeah, I could talk about it. I can't criticize it. So
all right.
I could talk about it. I just can't criticize it. But yo, we're gonna get into the show. I want to start off. Obviously, we had an emergency episode, late last week, after Bray Wyatt's passing, and I want to thank everybody who listened to that show and sent us comments and left us comments and replies and stuff like that. Again, like I said, I felt it in my heart to go out and talk about that incident with everyone, all of our listeners that might have been feeling away or feeling down or sad about it. So. But also last week we had another legend that passed away literally 24 hours before Bray Wyatt passed away, and that was Terry Funk. And it's been a tough week in the wrestling community. even besides all of the crazy things that happened on Sunday and the huge records that were broken, the indelible personality and the mark that Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt have left on people has been something that everyone's been talking about for the past couple of days. Meelz, how are you feeling a couple of days removed?
It's great to see kind of everyone celebrate him and kind of like the unity within the wrestling community. And then it's also, I mean, we've run through this unfortunately like many times over the course of the 300 and what 307 episodes that we've done on this podcast. Um, and just kind of seeing it's to me it's always interesting seeing kind of like the market leaves on people because wrestling deaths are very like they hit hard, like even beyond just characters. Like people are usually noticed as celebrities, but when you're noticed as a character and your celebrity, it kind of like, whoa, that, how does that happen? But for me personally, um, it's a my I usually get a lot more heartbreak seeing the stuff like Seth Rollins and his emotional kind of like reaction to it, or Becky Lynch at the end of Raw. That's the stuff
Mhm.
that usually like kind of like hits me um, in a way. But it was great to see WWE's not shying away with it, not necessarily, and also like giving like fitting tributes, like the Cody promo on Friday. Um, Him flying in just to cut that thing, it clearly hold Terry Funk in like high regard of like, oh, okay, we need this person, we need him to talk on this, and we need him to express on this, and bring in Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan and everyone who's kind of like close to Bray Wyatt at that time period to kind of like mourn him as a group and as a family, because ultimately the wrestling business, they are just one giant family at the end of the day. And when you lose a member, it's definitely tough to kind of like process and go through it and realize that you may never see them again. And you have that great podcast. It's a it's still available to listen to as we parse through these kind of like feelings. But it's great for the to see how everyone remembered him as a community, in the wrestling community, same as Bray Wyatt and both Terry Funk. And I need a Funk You shirt now. Like I really do generally feel like I need one now.
Those the funk you shirts are hard. DMV, I know that you just kind of started watching, and I know that during your time there, Bray was kind of in the middle of the Fiend thing, and it might have been after he got released actually. So you might have been more so when he came back, right?
Yeah, so Bray Wyatt, of course, one of the most creative minds in wrestling. It's incredible that he got to display as much creativity as he did, especially with, Vince, like, has his hands on like everything creative in the company. So it's cool that he got to express himself as much as he did. I think back to a story about Matt Hardy. I know Matt Hardy. We don't like to talk about him, but so they were going over the final deletion in like 2018. So like, so they had a creative meeting, and then after they were done, um, they everyone was clapping, and then Vince was like, "Hey, I don't understand any of this, but I'm gonna let it rock. I'm gonna put my Drewski hands up, and let it ride." So it's cool that we got to experience all this hold on, all the great moments that um
That he had,
we
right?
had, yeah, that he had.
Yeah.
He played a part in multiple significant moments. Like, you think to the two of the most, if not the two most important significant moments of the modern era. Yesomania, he had a part to play in that, and the start of the tribal chief era. He Roman won that match between Braun Strowman and Bray to kick off his
Yeah.
world record setting reign. So
Yeah.
that's cool. My heart aches for Alexa, who was close to him on and off screen, and figured to have a lot of creative tied up in the Uncle Howdy Bray Wyatt stuff, as well as Braun, Eric, Bo, JoJo, and her children and
Yeah.
his children. So yeah,
Yeah.
and the fact that we heard he was on the mend, and we know maybe primed for making a return, made this loss more tragic. So
Absolutely. No, you're right. And you know, as more details come out about it, I know there was a TMZ report that came out this morning that a lot of people are kind of upset about. I don't know if you saw that, Meelz, where he had a defibrillator machine that apparently he wasn't wearing at the time of his passing, and
Hmm.
he passed in his sleep. And you know, let me just say, this COVID shit is not a joke, man. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
it's serious. It really is. And to see someone so bright and so smart kind of just taken out by this thing is just really sad. And I think another thing that I've thought about as time has passed since we even recorded the podcast last week is you think about every single person that's on that main roster has somehow crossed paths with Bray or Wyndham in their career. They all came up with him all through FCW, all through NXT. The thing with wrestlers passing is that we don't notice, or we haven't noticed, that none of the modern people now have passed away. Like it's not as prevalent as it used to be in the 90s and the 2000s. So when you think about it, this is the first major death in their generation, and that makes this whole thing hit a little bit differently when you think about the wrestlers like Seth and Becky and everyone there, but also for us. We haven't seen this with someone our age in a long time. He's our age, he's our generation, and that's what makes it, even more tragic than I could have even thought about a week ago.
No, you're absolutely right. Like it's a, and I thought about that too because when you think of like the moments, I mean, the last major moment was both the Eddie and the Benoit thing, and that was kind of like that kind of shifted the industry, especially both being kind of like current. But they haven't had that in a long time, and no one has really kind of experienced it in a long time. So it's very tough to parse through the feelings of like loss, and especially sudden loss with someone that you've seen quite frequently. But yeah, ultimately, I agree. Like this COVID stuff is no joke, man. Like it's a make sure you do everything, especially if you have any like underlying health issues, to continue to like protect yourselves and you know just stay safe. That's ultimately at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
It ain't back.
um
It ain't back. It never left.
it
And
never
Absolutely.
left.
yeah,
Yeah,
people need to carry that on. And again, as DMV said, my heart goes out to Bray's family, his friends, everyone. We had a really heartbreaking, really kind of, I have no emotions. I can't even rate the show because of just how it made me
I
feel.
thought they were both great shows, though.
They were great. But I can't rate it in a way where it's like I can't judge it too harshly because these people still went out to work and one of their comrades passed away. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
SmackDown was a tough watch on Friday. Just thinking about everyone who had worked with him. I think damn near everyone on that card on Friday had worked with or been around Bray in some capacity in his almost 10 years in the company.
Right.
And
And just kind of like to add something, you talk about still kind of like working through it ultimately at the end of the day, and Michael Cole had that statement like ultimately we chose to entertain tonight. You gotta kind of wonder, especially like what we kind of know now with a lot of mental health, like is this a healthy kind of way to approach this? Like ultimately at the end of the day, we're doing what is right for the business and for the fans who paid their ticket and stuff like that, and maybe it does get your mind off of it, but ultimately like for the wrestlers to continue and not to really have time to process it, and not really being given the space to ultimately kind of like figure out their feelings on this. We saw, and there was this clip that's highly criticized this week of an interviewer. I'm not going to say her name, but an interviewer pretty much interviewing Big Show probably hours after the news broke. And I mean, in a situation I thought was kind of like, listen, we all have jobs to do, but at the end of the day, we're all still human at the end of the day. So I would use discretion in sort of like how you want to word these questions or even ask these questions.
Mhm.
But he ultimately didn't know. And this is Big Show, who has lived through. He's been in the business a long
Yeah.
time.
He's lived through a lot of them.
Yeah, and he's just not able to kind of like figure out these feelings yet. And you kind of got to wonder if this is even the right way to kind of like go about it. It's just like continue plowing forward. Not to say that WWE did anything wrong, because ultimately at the end of the day, this is still a business. They're, quite honestly, they're all conditioned to do it. No matter what, like the show always goes on, but ultimately you got to figure out, like, hopefully there's some sort of like mental health kind of like, reaching out and that kind of thing to really deal with this situation on both sides, whether it be AEW, WWE, Impact, everywhere, because it's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, we saw Seth at the live event over the weekend talking about therapy and saying he didn't have a chance to go. We saw Seth's incredibly hard to watch video about how he said he wanted to fly into SmackDown, but he wanted to stay with his family because that's where he thought it was best for him to be at that point. And I don't think I've seen anyone as more candid than he has been over the past week. Not to say like no one's going through their own things, but he's kind of letting us in on how he's feeling. I think, to your point, Meelz, I think some wrestlers, they really do want to work through it, because I think that's probably how they take their mind off of it. But I do hope that there are mental health disclaimers and resources that the other wrestlers can use there. I would hope that they would take that step, and that's in both companies, to say, if you need to talk to someone, this is a number that you can call, or this is someone you can call. I know it's not tough. I know these motherfuckers are built differently, but I would pray and hope that no one, or someone takes that help, and they take their mental health very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I know AEW, Tony Khan's allowing AEW wrestlers to go to the memorial service for Bray, correct?
Yes, they are,
Yeah.
and giving them that time off. Again, he's giving them 2 weeks off, so they're able to leave. I think the services are this Wednesday, I believe, or I would think that, I think maybe if I were to think, maybe the what is it, the not the repass, the what's the first one? I forgot what it
The
was.
Wake.
The Wake, yeah, but I would imagine the Wake is Wednesday, and I guess the actual services would be this weekend or next weekend or something. Probably not this weekend, actually, because a lot of the guys are going to be working, but probably next week. So those are the 2 weeks that will probably be accounted for. But I we go from this somber, sad start to the show. Not because DMV is on the show, but we love you, DMV. But
Oh,
we go from this sad, somber start to the show to All In from Wembley Stadium. Did who watched the whole show? I was in and out. It was Sunday. I had to run errands. I don't got time for that. It was at 9 a.m. my time.
I watched
I
most of the show, but go ahead, DMV.
I went from almost skipping the show to watching Rampage. I was gonna watch Collision to get ready for it, which you guys clown me for in the Discord, but whatever.
Listen, don't listen. As a fellow collider, don't bear into the pressure. Yes, I did not watch it on Saturday when it was airing, but I watched it I watched it on YouTube.
Nobody in our Discord. Listen, it was the most quiet it had ever been in that Discord. It was like 5:20 or something my time, and somebody was like, "Y'all really not watching this?" or something. And then I think it was Bree said, "Y'all really not watching this?" And then someone answered at like 7 o'clock, like, "Yeah, we wasn't watching."
Listen. Yes, personally, this Collider show, I don't like people who are not colliders, not true colliders, not day one colliders.
Oh god.
Featured on the show. So if I start seeing a bunch of names of, I don't know, start seeing these Big Bills and the Keith Lees and all this, I was like, bro, y'all got a rampage to rampage on? Come on. So that
Yeah,
is my thing. But go ahead. Did you get to All In?
yeah. I even watched the pre-show to get ready, to get a primer for like all the big storylines, and a special someone showed up on the pre-show, which I'm sure we're gonna get into later. Or well, at
We
least
should get into it
Meals,
now.
Meals, you can tag in because J5, I don't know, might not want to talk about it. So
Monet Watch? Come on now. The Monet Watch? Of course we gotta tag in on Monet Watch. Listen,
I heard
Mercedes Monet.
goddamn steaming seats, bitch.
They had her. I don't know what. It wasn't even like a suite. It was definitely like Sting seats. But they showed Monet, Mercedes Monet. She dropped some pics earlier. Oh, I'm in London. Da 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 da. But I didn't believe
especially
him because
yeah,
wrestlers are notorious trolls. Um,
especially the four horsewomen as
yeah,
Becky. Yeah,
yeah, Becky will definitely be like, listen, glad I could grab some beans and toast on the way to work, like some shit like that, and post a picture or something. But no, I didn't believe it until they showed her up, and she showed up on TV. And there's been news that once she's cleared, she may make some
she's
appearances for
and would have
AEW.
debuted at Blood and Guts at the TD Garden if she was ready by then. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she would have debuted at Forbidden Door. I'm sure she would have. It's just a listen. I think everything happens for a reason. Um,
Hmm.
so maybe she was not meant to be on Forbidden Door, nor Blood and Guts, and maybe that was for the best because the rest of the Blood and Guts, besides Blood and Guts, the rest of the Blood and Guts show was not that interesting. Um, but listen, it's Monet Watch. When she's cleared, I'm sure we'll see her in AEW, and
Women's
we'll see,
wrestling Twitter was not having it, boy. They were
Hey,
not
bro.
having it.
how could you? How could you have it? How could you have it? You
I'm
know
I'm
what could happen.
I'm okay if she's Elise from New Japan, but I'd imagine that similar to what they doing with Will Ospreay, they're like massaging it. He was like, "Oh, your contract's about to be up in 6 months. We got water over here. We got Buzz Cola. You know what I'm saying? We got we doing stadium shows. You want to be at the stadium show? Pull up to the stadium show." But then I don't know. To tell Mercedes pull up in Louisville, Kentucky, and see how the crowd is there. But I'm assuming they're massaging this relationship a lot.
They better keep fucking massaging. They better work out all the knots because
You know?
you thought Punk. If you thought Punk was a divisive member of a locker room, are y'all serious? With Britt
Because y'all got one or two Mercedes losses to do off rip. After that, she not losing no more. we not doing. She can be like, I'm not doing this losing thing that you got everybody else tap dancing to on various shows. Nah, it's not gonna happen.
I
But
ain't Ruby Broco.
oh my god. Well, listen, I watched most of it. I missed the opening thing. I missed like the first 3 matches. I didn't get in until pretty much FTR versus the Bucks. But I will say this was probably the best paced AEW show that they've had. I will say it was definitely the biggest show that they had, and in some aspects it felt that way, in some aspects it didn't. But I don't think the show was bad, but I also don't think that anything on the card stood out as like memorable, groundbreaking. I'm going to look back at this at the end of the year and be like, wow, that moment was insane, because everything was just, yeah, there's just various moments where I wasn't jiggy with it, but
Yeah, yeah. I
they
think
80,000, that's all we heard. Listen, 80,000, 80,000, 80,000. They
I
did
think
it.
in terms
80,000.
I think in terms of us always saying that AEW doesn't have moments, they allowed a lot of the people there to have moments of walking out. You know what I'm saying? Like just walking out and
Mhm.
wrestling in front of that many people. I think that is their moment. They will always have that moment. It,
That's
but,
true.
but essentially, it's your WCW Georgia Dome Nitro. That's essentially what it's giving. And then after we know what happened after that. You know,
Yet once again, AEW tripping over their feet with undermining their biggest moments with backstage drama. So
You
exactly.
better tell him. You better tell him. Come on now.
Exactly. So, I mean, my thoughts on the show, it was fine. It was largely fine. I thought that it felt like, and I don't know if you two felt this watching it, it felt like they were like, all right, don't do 40% of the wild shit you would do on Wednesday and Saturday. Like, do maybe 20% of it because we got to get out of here. Like, it felt like to me, I don't know, like you say paced well. I say I felt like in some aspects it was rushed. Like that, I looked up,
Mm.
the casket match was over. I was like, yo, did it have any heat at all?
You know what? Probably for the best, to be honest with you. I mean, but I mean, again, I like that casket match, but I'm also a Christian Cage fan. I'm one of the very few that exists on this planet. But no, I thought it was well paced. To be honest with you, the match I really don't remember is Ospreay and Jericho. I really remember nothing about that match.
You know, it's an Osprey showcase match. You know, Chris Jericho, I think, made him look good enough, and get Osprey, get Osprey that 81 exposure in front of 81,000, and maybe try to court him when his New Japan contract's over. So
And that
I think he'll be signing.
and for sure, like that works, and I think that's significant. But like, essentially, I saw people saying he's a star. I'm like, he's a star there. Yeah, he's a star over there.
Yeah.
He's not a star. He hasn't moved the needle for them on TV at all. I think I look at it All In and I'm like, these are a bunch of guys that are met with apathy every single
Do,
week on their TV
do
show.
you do you
Chuck
remember that
Taylor.
Do you remember that Kota Ibushi was on this card?
Bro, botching.
I didn't see it at all, but it wasn't like a moment or anything of the rather. Like the way they kind of set this thing up and heavily, relying on tag team matches and multi-man matches really kind of took away from the important moments that this show could have had. But they've got another show next week, so
And injuries played a part in that, because if Brian Danielson was here, we would have gotten that big singles Kenny Danielson rematch that maybe
right,
they waited a little too long for, but
right, or
people still would have watched.
not even just injuries, but like visa things, like things they should have figured out before the Dynamite beforehand, where they had to write like 6 people off the show.
And we're gonna talk about travel issues too later.
Exactly. But I again, it's like I just don't feel as though a lot of the people on this card, like the thing is that we're watching the card not in Europe where these people don't see them every single week. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't see them in all of their towns. They're popular. They're popping over there. I get that. Like I'm never gonna take away the 81K from them. You can't. But I think that in terms of when they get back here, the reality is that they're not okay here. Like they're not okay at home.
How
And
Everything
many
is not
times?
all right at home.
How many times do we go, hey, golly gee, AEW looks like it's turning the corner,
yeah,
and then we get the same crappy programming we get every week?
exactly. Hey, turn that up, DMV. Hold on, man. I got something for you, bro. Are you ready for this, bro? Here we go.
Hey,
Hey,
it actually worked. That's the big surprise for me.
Because you know what, I gotta turn the button on, because you know who we talking about right now. But I want to get to the main event first of the show, and why I didn't feel like this was like their Mania main event thing, even though they were trying to work a Mania main event style, because they were trying to work a Mania main event style. Let's just be clear. They
Yeah.
it was the longest match on the show. It was so fucking slow with a lot of really crazy, like, is it wrong for me to say that I didn't feel like they had very good chemistry this time like they did the first time they had a match?
No, I'll say definitely the first match I thought had a much better and stronger through point, and that could possibly be because one is heel and one is a face. Because MJF was definitely heel and he was playing up that aspect, and he had Adam Cole kind of making the comeback. But this face versus face match, it's typically hard to do face versus face matches and that really kind of land anywhere in like good standing. But this match to me played up a little bit too much of the will they, won't they. And at the end of the day, I think they're trying to tap into the bloodline thing of this long-term storyline kind of movement. But I think the will they, won't they, I think there's a little bit more subtlety you can do it instead of someone trying to hit someone with a belt behind their back at least once a week. You know what I'm saying? Someone trying to attempt to super
or
kick someone
some
behind.
brass knuckles.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more subtlety that you can add to this to make it interesting, but Adam Cole ends up looking like a doofus at the end for saying he will do anything to win this championship and literally not doing anything, not doing pretty much anything that he can to win the championship. You know, Roddy Strong is like, you fucking idiot, and MJF ends up with the roll up, winning the match and retaining the AEW World Championship, and they stay a tag team at the end of the show, and it's I guess a happy ending for AEW fans.
I just think waffling on that whole thing just makes them both look stupid at this point. I think we were waiting for the turn. To me, when they won the tag titles, I was like, they're not turning tonight. I knew it. Because like they don't know how to write themselves out of a storyline where the tag team belts are, and also those types of storylines never work for me, where the tag team partners are champions but break up. I don't like that. But I just think Adam Cole's writing has been pretty abysmal here. I really do. I think that what AEW is doing is now they're letting a moment breathe for way too long, because unlike the bloodline, you don't have years and years and years of equity built up in this storyline. You have months and months and months of it. And they have to try and stretch this out to, I would imagine, Full Gear, which is going to be like their big November pay-per-view, where have things happen. But I think that, and for all intents and purposes, like, this main event felt as though it was trying to get inspiration from somewhere else. And I really want people to keep that same energy that they have for Roman and Jay from that, because it felt like, to me, the same type of melodrama that was giving.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. I mean, I thought it was similar to that in terms of relying very heavily on the melodrama and not enough. I feel like again, like I said, I feel like it's the subtleties that will really make this kind of encounter. And I think if they both committed to the fact that they were fighting each other for the AEW World Championship, and instead of trying to commit to like this best friends thing that realistically, like, again, no years of equity in it, literally weeks and months of equity in it, and like, no, he's my best friend. It's like, bro, you've known Roddy for years.
Yeah.
Like, years. What are you doing? Like, again, yeah, it's a little tough to hang on to. Interesting to see what will happen post this, and considering all of the events that have happened, will this continue next on Sunday, as opposed to maybe not continuing on Sunday?
So let's go back in time on all to the beginning of the show, 0 hour to be exact, when Hook was facing Jack Perry, No More Jungle Boy, in an FTW title match, no holds barred. They walk up to a car. Jack Perry taps the windshield, and says, "Real glass, cry me a river."
Go cry me a river. Yeah.
Picks up Hook, gives him a suplex on the windshield. Cuts himself all the way the fuck open, by the way.
Yeah.
This was, of course,
Maybe you should have taken Punk's advice.
Exactly. a very not so thinly veiled shot at CM Punk, who they had an issue, I believe, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, where Jack Perry wanted to use real glass in an angle with Hook, and CM Punk vetoed that idea. But
can I step in real quick?
Go ahead.
It was reported to be a situation, but it was never actually confirmed to be a situation. And the real of this thing is, they could have ignored it completely until, this is why I blame Jack Perry in the situation, until he brought it up like a dork who lives online like the rest of us, and brought it to actual factual, in a real life situation. So I'll say that it could have been avoided. This was all reported. It could have been water under the bridge, but no, he lives and dies by the same reports that everybody else does. And I guess he didn't like that we were clowning him 2 weeks ago on our podcast, but hey, it is what it is.
As we should have. So before the show starts, CM Punk and Samoa Joe are set to begin the show. Obviously, because it looks as though the way that they book these things now is that they either have the Punk and the Elite all the way at the beginning so that they can leave, or one goes on first and the other one goes on the very last so they can avoid each other, which I guess is fine. It is reported not even what was it, like 10 minutes into the Punk and Joe match, that someone reported that Punk and Jack Perry got into an altercation before the match, and I'm looking at the match like, but we're watching him right now. So like, what the fuck happened?
That was awesome.
It was reported or has been reported, and again, just like Brawl In or Brawl Out, we're getting reports every single day. It was reported that when Jack
And
Perry,
with 4 different versions of the same story.
exactly, Jack Perry goes backstage, and we don't know if it was he bumped Punk or Punk confronted him or Jack confronted him. We don't know. Oh, let's be clear. Every version of the story, Jack Perry loses. Let's just be clear here.
Yeah, he looks like a bitch in every single version.
There's no version of this story where Jack Perry wins or looks like a real nigga at all. No, I bet even his friends are telling the story to people and not telling him that he even got a lick off. So it's gone from Punk put him in a rear naked choke to a chokehold to a punch to some type of altercation. All of these things are happening. You have AEW members who are they there, seemingly there, or seemingly, backstage, or they're hearing about it saying, oh no, that's not what happened. And again, it begins this AEW cycle of disinformation and confusion. It's like they throw a smoke screen up and you don't really know. It's almost like they're gaslighting us, where it's like, oh no. You're crazy for thinking that Sean Ross Sapp or anyone who always reports on us positively are saying, backstage information about us. So we get so much information after this. We learn that Punk's travel, along with a lot of other people's travel, was botched. He gets off the plane, right? He doesn't have a car waiting for him. They pay this man millions of dollars, and they don't have a fucking car waiting for him when he gets to London. And the travel coordinator's phone is cut off. It's cut off.
Come on, Calvin. Come on, Calvin. Figure it out.
Punk has to take the
tube, baby.
The tube.
The metro.
He's taking the tube.
Take the tube and has to get help from fans who noticed him in the fucking subway to get to his hotel.
Hey, Punk, Wembley's that way.
There was no one, and mind you, let's go back to the fight. Let's fast forward back to the fight. After the fight, we don't even know who was told to leave. We hear that they were both told to leave. We hear that Punk left on his own accord. We hear that Jack Perry was told to leave. And then we don't know what the fuck is the truth. We don't know nothing is the truth here. They can tell you minute to minute everything that happens in a WWE locker room. But when it comes to AEW, it is always playing a game of telephone.
I would assume that considering Jack Perry's match was done first, as soon as after the altercation, he was told he had to leave. And then CM Punk came back and was also told he had to leave, but then said, let me get my shit so I can go, please. Like, I'm not leaving. What are you going to do? Drag me out? Right? I'm assuming that's what happened in terms of just kind of like the order of the matches. But yeah, like, this is so funny that this happened in real time with real people in the real place that it happened. And I'm sure a journalist or something saw it and they're currently just not reporting on it, as they're waiting for other people to report it to see. Because I don't know where Meltzer was the entire thing, but to me, he seemed very close to TK. So I'm sure he was there and could have reported something. But Sean Ross Sapp, he got it off, and it was
We're not done yet.
Oh, all right, go ahead. Yeah,
we're not done yet. We're not done yet. You know why? Because even after this, today, right before we fucking record, we get more news. PW Insider comes out and they're saying, well, there could be, or Alvarez also comes out and says, oh, there could be suspensions levied against Punk and Perry. The thought right now is that suspensions are on the way. Sports Illustrated report.
Nice.
Sports Illustrated.
Shout out to Justin Barrasso.
Do you hear me?
Shout out.
Sports Illustrated reports that CM Punk and Jack Perry are suspended. They're on good authority. This is as accurate and authentic a source as you can get. 1, 2, 3 hours later, there have been no suspensions according to us. Punk doesn't know about a suspension. Jack Perry hasn't even been commented on, or he hasn't commented on it. So no one's suspended. So who's telling the truth?
Hey man, I feel like someone told them that they were suspended, and Punk said, "Who told me that I was? I didn't hear a damn thing from. I haven't heard anybody since I got off the tube. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't heard a damn thing. So y'all gonna have to figure this thing out. Y'all gonna have to make this thing up, make it dance something. All I know is I'm gonna be in Chicago. The show gonna be in Chicago. If y'all need me to buy a ticket to pull up, just let me know from now."
So the idea, if we are to think that this is cool, or this is going on, this is happening, is that Punk and Jack Perry, let's just be clear, they're not going to be at All Out this Sunday. They're not going to be there. In Chicago, by the way. People have paid tickets. Well, not many people have paid tickets if you look at those returns, but people have paid tickets to go see CM Punk. They will not see him. I will tell you right now, if they see a Young Buck or a Kenny Omega, oh, they will see Kenny Omega because it's Omega versus Take a Shit.
Takashi, yeah.
Sorry, DMV.
Takeshita, I got flamed for Take a Shit.
If it's not, if they see a Buck or a Omega, they're gonna boo them out the fucking building. Okay, because that's just what's gonna go down. That's just what's gonna happen. Because this is a culture in your company that you have fucking created. And once again, regardless of if he was right or wrong, and I've been saying this, CM Punk probably shouldn't have laid his hands on Jack Perry, especially knowing that you're almost a year removed from the thing that got everything this cracking, this whole thing. Like you should have. The thing that makes it hard for even Tony, who is his most ardent defender, to actually justify is the fact that Punk put his hands on the kid, regardless of anything. That makes it hard to defend the guy right now, and it makes a suspension or a release very likely in my eyes for CM Punk.
I don't think he's going to release him.
He should.
I really don't.
He should.
He should. I don't think he's going to release him. I don't even think he really wants to suspend him, to be honest with you. He's like, well, he got Chicago on Saturday. I mean, they can figure out something.
How? What? Figure out what?
No. I mean, they can figure out something for Saturday. Don't get me wrong. If CM Punk doesn't show up, they'll figure out something for Saturday. It's a fake world title. It's not that big of a fucking deal.
They don't need to recognize it.
Yeah, they don't recognize it at all. There's been rumors that it's actually going to be a belt. We have yet to be seen about that. So they can really kind of do anything on that show. However, I don't know. You would want to keep that same energy and kind of let this be an example to the locker room. But then you also, I feel like, I don't know. You think the report was? I feel like there's a lot of like, he does get antagonized in these situations by people being
they are picking at him,
influenced by reports online, and I think he's sick of it to an extent, because realistically, like, what happens every time a report happens on WWE? Everyone will dismiss it. Bruce Pritchard has a podcast of damn near a decade doing nothing but dismissing rumors that happened, whether they happened or not. You know what I'm saying? You dismiss it by essentially saying that's not true, or you don't even acknowledge it at all. But here you are in a company where people live and die by the Sean Ross Sapps, the Dave Meltzers, the Brian Alvarez's, the comments that come out in the internet kind of like discourse surrounding it and react. Just 2 weeks ago, we saw it with the Lufisto thing, and Lufisto was just explaining her experience, and now we got an entire roster coming out and doing their own little song and dance about like whatever the thing is supposed to be. These people are so influenced by the dirt sheets and not influenced about what best for business of the company, that it's allowing them to affect him. And I could see why CM Punk in this situation would be frustrated. But yeah, there's no excuse. You shouldn't be hitting your coworkers.
Especially after you beat up the EVPs last year. Beating up the EVPs is a fireable offense in itself. Okay.
What does that mean for Jack Perry?
Go ahead, DMV.
Hitting an EVP with a chin, biting another EVP should be grounds for dismissal, but instead, no.
No, right?
You get hired and get to work remotely. And,
Yeah, shout out to that. Great gig.
But
And you know, Sammy, you have the Sammy Guevara incidents, you know, last year with Kingston, and then Andrade brought on from, you know, comments he posted on social media, and you know, he wasn't reprimanded for those either.
I think they were suspended though. I think
Andrade and Kingston were. Sammy
yeah, they
wasn't.
were suspended. Sammy wasn't though.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Sammy was actually the one who got hit. That's why. Like that was the thing. He lost the fight. That's why I think like most often in these situations, at least in a normal place, if you lost the fight, you're good. You might just get a suspension, but you alright. He ain't never like Punk is a repeat offender at this point, yo. Like he like the thing is that now they see if somebody pisses you off, you gonna fight them. And backstage, it don't matter who the fuck it is, EVP or regular person, you're gonna fight them. And I think that's what he's they have basically given Punk the rope to hang himself. They want him out, and that being the Bucks or whoever the fuck's in there, and they would do anything to get there. And you have reports now of Punk saying, "I hate it
I
here."
hate it here. I hate it here.
Like, more than the WWE, my friend.
It's gold. I hate it here is such gold.
Like,
Oh my god.
now you have yet another Meelz in DMV. You have yet another investigation. The investigation for Brawl Out was like a months long thing that didn't end until the year was almost up. How long do you think this investigation is going to go for? It seems pretty fucking cut and dry to me. Jack Perry said some shit. He got fucking hit for it. And that's really the end of the story.
I don't know where this is gonna go, but I'm interested. We got a couple of days until All In. We're all out. Whatever. All the same shit. You know what I'm saying?
What in your opinion, Meelz and DMV? What is next for the CM Punk thing? Like you. This is now. But let's be clear. There are at least 70 to 75% of that roster that does not want to work with CM Punk. We see that already on his TV show and who's on there and who's not. Because they have now created a TV show where if you go to that show on Saturday or if you go on a show on Wednesday, politically, you are looked at differently, which is insane to me. That's like LA.
I would hope not.
That's literally what's happening. Punk is set. There's the collide. Y'all say it yourselves. You're collider.
I'm a collider.
You're a collider. People have.
I side with Punk. I don't know what to say.
Like you guys have said that if you go to that other show politically, they look at you differently. I already know that's going to happen. I already know that's happening. There is this locker room has so much discord in it. There's just no clearing it up. So if you're Punk, if you're Tony and Punk, you already know the locker room don't fuck with you. They don't want to hear you. They look at you different because you got your own fucking show. There's only 10 people on that show that work every single week. It's just
they got all types of characters on fucking Collision at this point.
Like it's insane to me that they think that they can still make this work when there is no trust between the owners, the talent, or anything in between for this man.
It's a bad look. What say you, DMV?
Hey man, I have no earthly idea. Like Edge, Mercedes, Drew McIntyre, stay away. There's turmoil. Like it feels like every week. I don't like if you're name value free agent. Like stay away.
But if you're
Tony Khan won't. Tony Khan has an inability to put his foot down, and it emboldens his employees to act like this. So I don't see he either needs to put his foot down or give up the reins to someone who they'll respect. Because this is just we're just gonna keep getting these incidents over and over again.
Absolutely,
and
no.
nothing's going to change.
Yeah, and again, it's like you think about post All Out. There's a possibility that Mercedes Moné could show up. The Edge thing, I know we haven't mentioned it now. I know that all signs are pointing that he might be gone. I know he went online and said, these things aren't true. That remains to be seen. He can't talk about that anyway because his contract isn't up until next month. The Edge thing for me is like intriguing because you are signing someone who has outwardly said that he is depleted and cannot work very often. So what are you, Meelz, what are they getting out of an Edge right now other than one star? I'm sorry, I feel like trading Edge for CM Punk, you're trading the same person physically. Maybe even worse.
You probably change the morale of the locker room, to be honest with you. If you trade CM Punk for Edge, you're giving up someone who's a cancer in your locker room for someone who can be absolutely helpful and has a relationship with a lot of people that, you know, are respected on the show and is actually respected from the people on the show. So yeah, Edge. The funny thing about the Edge comment is that even through that thing, he never confirmed or denied. But he's still like, I'm thinking. It's not like I don't have the contract. The contract is sitting in my email. I'm like, yeah, but you ain't resigned the contract. Like, you think I'm stupid?
But here's my thing. It's morale until you realize that Edge is a WWE Hall of Famer in that backstage area, and you know how they treated the other Hall of Famer or the other WWE guy that paid a lot of money. You know how the elite feel about that. You know how the young people feel about that. Regardless of how cool Edge is, they already have shown that they don't really give two shits about what older people think about what they do. And
Edge got to just get his bag. You know what I'm saying? Get the bag.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that right now AEW is in a incredibly. Well, I can't even say that they're
tumultuous.
But are they though? They're living in that tumult. They're living in it. Like they're cool with it, and they're going like the ship. I won't say the ship's going down, but I would say that the ship is stalled, and the engines are not on. And it's a Hunger Games in that bitch. Like their inmates are firmly running the fucking asylum right now. And I don't think that Mercedes Moné and Adam Copeland can help that. They cannot save that at all. I don't think good matches are already not saving it. Let's just be clear. Like MJF, as much as he tries, is not saving the show. I've never seen anyone bounce back from this. Ever.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tough. You really kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, his relationship with the rest of the roster seems so frayed at this point that it doesn't even look like it's worth saving, to be honest with you.
Let's look at this All Out card really quick. Obviously, the War Report, they're going to be going through whatever comes out of this card. I have no clue what they're going to do on Wednesday, especially considering a lot of their roster won't even be there this week.
Hey, man. This is a hashtag collision card right here, baby.
If there are 5 matches so far, Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship, Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs, Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho, Orange Cassidy or Penta, because they just announced today that Penta and Orange Cassidy are facing off on Dynamite. It's probably going to be Orange Cassidy. Cassidy versus Moxley for the International Championship, and Kenny Omega versus Takeshita in a singles match. Those are your 5 matches. I would imagine they will probably throw MJF and Cole on here in some capacity, maybe against Roddy and someone else. This is from what you had a year ago, 2 years ago to now. It's not even about injuries. Nobody on this card is hot at all.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like OC is the ace currently. Moxley I don't know. Moxley's kind of in a space right now. Yeah, it's not really a hot card. Like it's not really a high contested card, but it looks like this is the sacrifice that Tony wanted to make in exchange for All In. Like it seems like this is what thank you. It seems like this is what he wanted to this is what he was like, okay, this is just gonna have to be because $80,000, and he's already said, like, listen, whether we sell a pay-per-view or not, we've already made back what we made back on this card. So we're already making money on this card. So I feel like at this point, this is just kind of like, we had this schedule, it's on the calendar, we're going to book some matches, we're going to get some things going, and we're going to continue to trek forward. It's Labor Day weekend. That's essentially what he's kind of like hoping for at the end of the day.
Labor Day weekend is when you get all of your eyes because people don't have work the next day. you want them to sit down and watch Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho on a Sunday night?
That's definitely a Friday night match. I'm not gonna hold you. So is Miro versus Hobbs. I'm not gonna hold you. And Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin is also a Friday night match. I'm not even gonna hold you to.
Not to mention that you got another show the night before. and it's all in Chicago, where you've been 100 times. DMV, how many times would you go see a show in your same market multiple times over a weekend?
Not many.
I've missed a couple Barclay shows. You know what I'm saying? I've missed, but here's another thing as well. So
They're running their fans' pockets with All In, All Out, and they recently announced Wrestle Dream 2, and that's in September, I think, right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think so.
October. I think it's in October. You're right.
October, yeah.
Wrestle Dream is going to be yet another New Japan team up.
Barely. I'm assuming they're not sending the top guys. I'm assuming they sending like Juice's friends and shit. I don't know.
But Meelz, for the first time, and even before that, to your point, DMV, they're running Arthur Ashe in September, and then Wrestle Dream in October. So they have All Out, Arthur Ashe, which is not
Grand Slam, yeah.
The Wrestle Dream, and then Full Gear in November. They've never done this many pay-per-views back to back to back ever, and with the style that they work, the storylines that they try and put on, we've all had issues with the way that they do their storytelling. Do you think this is possible for them to do this many pay-per-views and this much content back to back to back like this, which is unprecedented for them in their 4-year history?
I mean, TK is just like a match generating machine. He doesn't really like process like storylines and like major peaks and stuff. So if you were asking him to generate 4 different cards on 4 different nights featuring a roster of 80 people, he's gonna do it. Now, whether it'll be successful or not, whether it'll be All Out 2021 or it'll be fucking what's that championship show that they have the other night? Battle of the Belts, 6 or something along those lines. Whether it'll feel like that or feel like this, it'll be interesting to see. But I don't. They got a lot going on, but this is also
they got a lot going on.
This is what they're supposed to be doing, right? Like at the end of the day, like they have to grow. They have to realize that there's a lot of demand. If there's going to be a lot of demand for this, you have to meet that demand. And currently, I think they're exhausting all of that. And then I also had another question. If you paid for tickets for the United Center and Punk is not going to be there, give me my money back. I want it, especially Collision. If Punk ain't on Collision, I ain't there. Give me my money back.
Nobody's there. No, I mean, to be honest, nobody's at those shows anyway in America.
Well,
all hell is about to break loose in this company. And I just want to let y'all know this is about to be the funniest fall for wrestling, fall-winter season for wrestling that we've probably ever seen. It's going to be hilarious. I want to predict Payback. It basically should be Raw branded, but they got a couple.
But hold on, before we get to that, John Cena's announced himself for 7 weeks of programming on Friday Night SmackDown. So do we want to maybe get into that before we dive into
For sure, yeah. Cena was announced. Of course, we did talk about that he was going to be on SmackDown this week. Basically, I guess in preparation for the India card that he's going to be on in September. But they also went ahead and SAG be damned. Cena said, "I need to do something, bitch." He said, "I work
money.
I'll work all October. The strike ain't over. Shit, I'll work all in November. Like fuck it." He's going to be there for the next 7 weeks. I would imagine. And I think this is actually
just like it's like Adele in Vegas.
Well, you know what? And we kind of came down on Seth a couple weeks ago, and rightfully so, for his comments in the writer's strike and how it was kind of opening up opportunities. But now we're seeing that opportunity bear fruit with Cena. Largely who's this dude Cena has a new movie come out every single week. I mean, Vacation Friends 2 is out now on Hulu.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's got a #1 movie on Netflix with Jackie Chan too.
Yeah, the hit terrible movie, by the way. I didn't finish it. He got that movie with Jackie Chan. They came out a couple weeks ago. He's a busy guy.
He's gonna be in Mortal Kombat 1 Peacemaker.
Oh yeah, he's doing the voice for Peacemaker as well. Again, he stays booked and busy, but now he's booked and busy in WWE. I think it's actually, again, like I said, this is where that opportunity kind of bears fruit, where you have Cena throughout the fall months, where Roman will not be there. And I think, to me, is a great way to get ratings, of course, but to fill out those arenas that are kind of longing for the next chapter of the bloodline, as we wait to see what I would assume and would hope would be kind of the third act of this whole thing coming up
Right.
in Mania season.
And I think also, I think by the mere fact of him not commenting on any of these situations at all, he's just jumping back into the role of John Cena. He's not coming at it from the actor of like, I'm lending my star power to WWE. He's like, no, John Cena's back. You know what I'm saying? John Cena never left. I was there at WrestleMania early this year. So maybe that's another thing of like why I guess maybe the SAG strike uh isn't really like frowning upon this, or like no one's really frowning upon
It's
this
not
because
union.
it's
Wrestling isn't union. That's why.
right.
None of the wrestlers have. None of the wrestlers are part of SAG. So he's technically okay to promote and do all of this shit because it doesn't fall within SAG. So he found a really cool loophole here.
Yeah, nah, it's true. It's true. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to see John Cena on SmackDown. I think SmackDown has been having good numbers. I think it wants to maintain those numbers, and you got to do anything that you can. Nick Khan is a monster.
Um,
So
who do you think he's gonna work with? I would imagine a month-long program isn't out of the realm of possibility, but who do you guys think makes the most sense for John Cena at this point?
don't say LA Knight.
I
The guy who was in the ring with at Money in the Bank, Grayson Waller, I think he's all about shepherding the new generation into the WWE. He worked with Theory at WrestleMania, so I think it makes sense for him to help get Grayson over with the crowd. I think we'll get some good promos out of it. I think Waller really held his own during that Money in the Bank segment,
Mhm.
so I think we get some good material out of it. Me personally, John Cena, Bianca Belair backstage segment. I know she's kayfabe injured, but you know that'll set Black Twitter on fire.
No, I feel you on that. I feel you on that for sure. Like I think, again, to DMV's point, him working with the younger generation would be incredibly cool to see. I'll raise you this. There's a Cody segment with Grayson Waller at Payback. What if only for a second here, you get Cena come out as a surprise at Payback and confront Waller, and we do get some kind of situations here with Cody and Cena on SmackDown. Like I feel like
Okay, I was because I was like, wait, he's just gonna bypass Cody and go to Waller.
no. I would say so. Cena and Cody work together. I think that's something that people want to see. I think that it gets they're kind of, no one's really complained about it yet. They're kind of playing loose with the brand switches, but I also feel like there's nothing for Cody to do on Raw right now. So it would be
This
cool
is
for him.
true.
It would be nice for him to be on SmackDown and kind of work with Cena, because on Raw, like I feel like this is so insulated as to what storylines there are. Cody lives in his own universe until he's ready for
He
Raw.
wasn't even on last night's episode.
Exactly. And to be fair, that man needed a break. He had been all over the place for them.
I mean, he said, "I'm gonna fly to SmackDown. You might not see me on Raw, though." You know what I'm saying? I could see John Cena. You know what? I think it would be kind of like a cool little thing. Um, John Cena solo Sokoa.
Hmm.
Wow.
Let's get Solo doing something. Solo not really in the mix. Solo, this is the longest Solo been out since Solo showed up. You know what I'm saying? You
Or
get
or
Paul Heyman do a couple promos.
Cena working with
Uh,
Jimmy. Cena working Jimmy too.
possibly. What if it's Jimmy and Solo versus Jay and John? You know what I'm saying?
Or whoa, Jay and John, or John and Cody. That's back
Ooh.
into to the space, because you got to think, y'all, right? Like you got to start working Cody back into the storyline at some point, because what we are gearing up for is, and the thing like Mania is coming up really fast. The thing we want to get to here is Cody and Roman face to face again, because that's the match. Like, to me, that is the match in the company right now. Is
Mhm.
Gunther anyone? But a little bit before that is Cody Roman too, is the match that everybody wants to see. And I don't know. I know it's pie in the sky thinking Cody and Cena will be rocking together like that, but I do know that that's something that I think would be a really cool look for Cody, because again, it's all about getting him those cosigns from the major stars to make people believe that he could win in Mania and Philly.
Absolutely. No, you're right.
All right, Payback
Mhm.
taking place in Pittsburgh. Six Max show. H is like, I'm getting them in, I'm getting them out on Saturday.
No, people were complaining about Gunther and Gable not making the card. Like Triple H said, if you don't have more stuff than you need ready to go, you fail.
Mhm.
And plus, the NFL is back next week, so I'm not going to complain about them making the TV more appealing.
Absolutely. No, you hit the nail on the head right there. Gunther and Chad Gable is off, but you want to have that moment, right, where you solidify the fact that Gunther will be breaking the record. And you do that on Monday with a win over Gable. If he wins against Gable, you solidify that moment on TV. You solidify that history making moment to everyone there that he did it live and he did it in front of people and he did it with a win. And so like I'm cool with Gunther not being here. And I think honestly, and I want to know how you feel about this, Meelz. Is like we're just gonna have to get used to sometimes people they're just not gonna be on the pay-per-view cards all the time, and I think that's something that we're not used to.
No, absolutely. And it perfectly honestly, this should be the kind of way it goes. I'm for it because it makes TV feel more important. And I think one of the biggest gripes about what I had, especially like I would say pre maybe like 2020, 2021, was that everyone was running through the motions on TV and there was no actual like main events being built up on television. Um, Now you got one. So I'm kind of like okay with it, to be honest with you, because if I'm going to be dedicating 3 hours to watching Monday Night Raw, there better be something I want to watch on the show. Um, and also the pay per views, these are smaller pay per views. You still get to see your favorite stars. You still get to do the same thing. Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton says, John Cena, you better show up at Fastlane. I'm
Hey
sorry,
man,
bro.
I've never seen him in my life. I hope he shows up to like WrestleMania 40 because I'm planning to go, Lord willing. So I've never seen him live in person. So that'd be
John,
great.
listen, John
Yeah.
Cena is definitely a special experience. So make sure you see that. But yeah, let's get into this card. Let's predict what's going on this show.
Yes, sir. Let's start off with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Damian Priest, the only two niggas in this whole group that don't got no belts. For a Steel City Street fight for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. Um, as everyone knows, we talk about this in the Discord all the time. This has been a very ongoing feud for the past couple of months on Raw. So many main events dedicated to it, so many different variations of this main event. Now we're finally getting it for the titles. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been bit with the injury bug, for the past couple of weeks, past couple of months, really. And they haven't been able to kind of be like the tag team champions that we kind of thought that they would, just because of these injuries. This is, no fault of their own, but I do think that there's a sense that you kind of want to get these off of them so that the belts can breathe, and you can also use this as a way to make the Judgment Day a bigger force on Monday Night Raw if they're not going to break them up at this point. But I would love to know what you guys think.
I think there's an opportunity here. One, like you said, to kind of like get the belts off of KO and Sami Zayn. Also, again, feature Judgment Day. There's a potential to feature them on SmackDown, which is very, very nice. Um, and just kind of like really give a pulse to it. To be honest with you, I can see KO and Sami Zayn losing this. I can see them getting back the belts in a short order or a short time. So, this match, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun considering all parties involved. I think ultimately at the end of the day, I would, if I was a betting man, I'm trying to use my betting man thing. If I was a betting man, I would say KO and Sami Zayn retain, though, at the end of the day. There's just something about it. I don't know if I think it's smarter for Balor and Priest to do it, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like in these situations, KO and Sami retain.
I wouldn't be surprised if Judgment Day steal these titles from KO and Sammy because you want these uh PLEs to feel significant, and one way to do that is title changes. I'm really excited that it gets this stiff. I saw a quote where KO lamented not getting to be in the Money in the Bank ladder matches. That guy likes jumping off of high platforms and almost paralyzing himself. So I think it's gonna be a fun match, but I got KO and Sammy retaining.
Yeah, I don't want to bet against them because they're booked, in these types of situations they're booked really strongly. Um Sammy did just lose against Damian, which kind of gives me more credence to the fact that they may retain because they just lost on TV and they got to get their heat back. So maybe, you know what, maybe they will retain. I'm just interested in knowing what they're building to with Judgment Day at this point. And maybe we'll get that answer on the show. Because I feel like for a show that to me has a strong card, but nothing really out of the ordinary or spectacular, they must be planning on doing something that nobody expects on this show. And that's really that's what I've been thinking about it for the past couple of weeks. Also, LA Knight versus The Miz, regular ass match, of course. The Miz,
Yeah.
The
I
Miz.
said what? I said yeah. I said what? I said what? I said yeah.
Hold on.
Let me talk to you. Yeah. I got my wannabe tough guy, big bass voice on, so you know I mean business. Yeah. Cause Papa don't play that. Yeah. Nah. Yeah. I'm a dangerous man. Yeah.
Shout out to TikTok.
Listen, man. Listen, pals.
Listen, everyone was saying how they cooked him on Friday.
Yeah.
He used this inside Miz voice. Hey, yeah.
Listen, man.
Y'all forgot who y'all were fucking with.
Listen, man. I got the Miz merch on the way. I got the
That
Miz.
boy cooked him something good, man.
Here's the thing about this program. The promos have been on fire. I think there's no better person to bring that out of LA Knight than Miz. I think Miz is doing what he's supposed to do. I think even from the beginning, Miz has kind of had LA's number. Friday aside, I thought Friday was a really strong pro. I thought Friday was actually one of my favorite promos of the year. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought that LA elicited so much emotion there, but also that final line was just so good. Like I thought
Right.
he killed it.
I feel like it came off with more intention than bravado this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually he tries to make you believe and make you feel this thing, but this felt more intentional, centering around Bray, taking it to Miz, bringing it back. Like it felt very, very strong. It felt really like, again, yeah, one of my favorite promos of the year for sure.
But then you have the Miz on the other end. He's in TMZ talking shit. He's dressing up as LA Knight. A Miz staple is dressing up as his opponent and doing the impressions. Listen, as far as on the mic and in the story, it has made sense to me. It's all made sense. I feel it. I think that it's the type of adversity that LA Knight needs at this point. I think to legitimize him. But I'm telling you right now, y'all, when that bell rings, I'm Drewski hands. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think because these are two guys that they might be oil and water when that shit starts.
I feel like LA Knight is a little bit big and kind of like awkward in the ring. There's like a bulkiness to his in-ring thing that doesn't translate to how he really wants to come off.
Not Miz. Miz ain't exactly a gazelle.
First of all, we've seen plenty of
you
great.
see Miz and Ricochet earlier this year pulling out Hurricane Rana's.
Miz and Seth earlier this year. Like, let's not. I love. I know I'm the Miz guy on this thing and da da da.
Hey man, Hall of Famer.
But let's not act like Miz don't know how to work. You know what I'm saying? Miz be working.
Okay.
Right. I don't know about LA Knight, but Miz be working.
Where do you think the winner has never been in question? Okay.
Yes, it's not. It's really not.
What do y'all think the match is going to be like?
If I can, I don't expect it to be really, really good, but I expect Miz to be very gracious and understanding that LA Knight is having this moment and treat it as such. So he may kick out a skull crushing finale. He may.
I'm about to throw up.
Yeah. But and then he got his other like Miz name finisher. What is this, like blunt force trauma? Ew. Um,
Hey, it reminds me of the BFG from Doom, so I'll let it rock.
but I expect Miz to be very, very giving. I expect them to play up to the crowd a lot. I expect them to act like this is WrestleMania 17's main event, and and try to have one of those matches.
I got Miz winning this. What do you think, DMV?
That's
Yeah,
crazy. You said the winner was never in question, and you chose Miz.
uh, I got LA Knight winning. This is the build I've enjoyed the most on the card. I've enjoyed promos from both men. It's a big litmus test for LA Knight. Like every criticism, every reservation that social media's had, Miz has been confronting LA Knight about it in his promos. So after this, it's like a big. We'll see where LA Knight goes after this because you have you put this out. What happens when the pops aren't as loud?
Mm-hmm.
What happens to him then?
Yeah.
So we're gonna see where it goes.
I even felt like on Monday the pop wasn't that crazy. I feel like on Monday it felt like a Chad Gable pop on Raw. What you think, Mills?
Nah, I thought the pop was pretty big. They really thought it was gonna be LA Knight.
Oh no, it ain't sound loud. Maybe I need to turn my TV up, bro. I need to turn my Sonos up. I feel like maybe
I thought the crowd for the show was kind of like really bad for the most of the show.
until they was
Um,
with that trick.
yeah, until they pull off that trick, then it heated up. But yeah, in terms of what I'm picking, I know who's gonna win, but I'm still gonna pick Miz anyway.
This nigga crazy. All right. Also, what are your feelings about doing an inter-brand match 2 months before a Survivor Series or 3 months before Survivor Series?
Do
I
do
don't think.
y'all
Go
do
ahead.
y'all really care? Like, does anyone really care about the sanctity of the brand split
I
anymore,
I
or
don't.
do they just pretend to be mad for Twitter?
I think you hit the nail on the head there again. I think that's really what it is. I just wanted to ask because it's an inter-brand match in the middle of the fall, but again, they're able to kind of they can flub the rules a little bit to fit where they want to fit. I think the rosters are doing so well right now that who could complain about more talent? It's good. Um, let's get to a match I don't really give a shit about. Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship. I just can't get behind anything that this guy, Austin Theory, is behind right now. I like Rey Mysterio a lot. I think he's a great worker. I'm just ready for the Santos feud to start, I think. And I don't know why Austin's getting another match for this title.
I'm looking forward. I don't know. I guess I'm not looking forward. I guess I was just kind of just saying that. Um,
His quick match.
yeah, it might be something where I'm not that interested. I think they're both great workers. But I don't think this leads to any real exciting results. So I'm just gonna say Rey Mysterio.
Hey, this is the U.S. title match folks were asking for SummerSlam. So that old guy. Where's Austin Theory? Why wasn't he on the
Oh
card?
yeah, there was that whole guy. What's wrong with him?
Well, here he
You
is.
you know Austin. I will put this out there. Austin Theory was cooking in the ring around this time last year against like the Seth Rollinses of the world. So maybe Ray can bring that out of him again. We'll see. I'm expecting Santos' involvement here. This this is just like to get us to the real feud that we want, which is Santos Ray and then Ray passing the torch ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that happens at Fastlane or Survivor Series, I think it happens sometime this fall. So
Yeah, I
yeah, I got Ray Mysterio winning.
yeah, I think Ray will win. But I'm wondering, is a surprise? I'm very, again, I have a sinking feeling that there's going to be like a twist or something in one of these matches on the show. I just don't know what match it's going to be in, or a surprise that we don't know about. I could be wrong. There could be none. You know what I mean? But I feel like a turn or something is imminent here on this card. A match that I'm really excited about. Well, there's two matches I'm really excited about. Three, actually. Let's get to those right now. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus, steel cage match. Let me just start this off by saying Becky Lynch is a psycho, okay? She does a Falls Count Anywhere match that goes nearly 20 minutes on Monday. She has scars already from that match on her face. Like, she's got a huge lump on her head from that match. And she's going to do a steel cage match with Trish Stratus on Sunday, where you already know they're going to be bloody mouths, bloody noses, all types of bruises that are going to be leveled out on that one. This match is going to bang, I think. I think it's going to be really, really fun. I think Zoe's been working hard. I think Trish's been working hard. They're already setting up a breakup between these two, which is kind of odd to me.
Hey, did you see her? Was that chair shot last night accidental? Or did she actually mean?
It looked accidental. It's just so funny that I could not come up with any logic as to why she would have did it, other than she wasn't paying attention or a spot was blown where she was supposed to do that, but she did it too late.
She was probably not supposed to be where she was and got hit in the face with a chair.
Exactly. I don't think she was supposed to be where she was. I do, however, think, because it played into the ending, I do think Trish was supposed to throw the chair at some point, because that was how Becky won the match, was because of the miscommunication. But I feel like that spot and Zoe's reaction to it was just like, what the fuck? Like, it was 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed that part.
It was pretty good. I think Zoe Stark, I've come around. I said, listen, when she finally gets really settled in this kind of thing, I think she's going to be a major player on this show. So good eye on her. This Becky versus Trish match. I think we're going to see that Becky is still like one of the more underrated wrestlers. Which is wild to say considering all the accolades that she's faced, but I don't think she's heralded in the same conversations as the other horsewomen when it comes to the in-ring work. But I think her mind, creativity, timing,
her ability
psychology,
to put together a match in format.
Absolutely. Like, put together an actual really great match is like, I think it's better than, quite honestly, the rest of her contemporaries. She has done magic with Lita in the past. That was Lita's best match ever. I still remember it this day because I've never seen a Lita match that good until then. She has done it with Trish. She's done it with Zoe. She's done it with Liv. She's done it with everybody on the sun. So to think that this match won't be good and this match won't live up, if it gets to time, it's going to be amazing. I think Becky versus Trish is going to be fire. I think Trish is doing a great job, and she said, shout out to Armand. Stay busy with Armand.
Shout out, 29-minute interview. They go over Liv Morgan. They go over her favorite snacks. Cardi B. Tag team.
Yeah. Shout out to Armand. Hey, DMV, you on our show? Fuck Armand's show.
Hey, Armand's mad at me for some reason. I don't know why. Hey,
for you, I'll crush his gym for you. I'll do anything.
Hey, don't do me. Hey, if he wants to invite me on Rewriter's Room, we got a problem. We can resolve it. I'm just saying.
Pull up to the front door with it. I'm gonna pick ultimately. I'm gonna pick Becky Lynch to win this match.
Hey, DMV put an address on it, and I think Becky Lynch going to put an address on it on Sunday. I think she's going to come out. She's going to win, because it's time for Becky versus Tiffany Stratton next month at No Mercy. Let's get it.
Oh, hell yeah.
I honestly, for real, I think she's going to work that No Mercy card, Meelz, in DMV. I think that's going to be the thing that gets people to buy tickets to that show.
I think they want that $800K.
Yes. I think they want that $800K for sure.
I said they want that $800K. They're like, we could do this anytime we want to. Just be clear.
Well, here's the thing: you do the $800K in September, around the time where they're doing Arthur Ashe and you're doing all these things. They're like, oh well, our C show is doing what your A show is doing.
Just be clear. We could have did this years ago, and we just chose not to. We were developing stars. Sorry. Now those stars have flourished, and we're getting $800K.
Yeah,
come on now.
Yeah. It's hey, I want to move Becky into that. I think she takes a little bit of a break in between that for Survivor Series, because she doesn't have a title currently, unless they do the tag match at Survivor Series, which I Bray that comes back. I think those are really cool. You move her on to Rhea, I think, toward the end of the year, and then we kind of figure out where she's going to go for Mania. I think there's a plan for her for Mania, but that has yet to be seen. Next up,
I'm wondering where Trish and Zoe go. Do you think tag titles? Maybe Raquel. We're gonna get into Raquel next, but
yeah,
maybe a Raquel program.
that
I feel like Liv would have been the program if she was healthy, but unfortunately,
oh for sure, for sure. I think
no.
Trish seems to be in this for the long haul, right? Like it seems like she's here for a minute. So
I agree. I would give her a couple weeks off and then bring her back.
yeah, I think so as well. I think that there's definitely plans for her to be factored in to at least Mania and Philly, and then she could ride off into the sunset. And I think for a run that she's been doing right now has its ups and downs, but I'm largely enjoying it. I think she's a welcome addition to the show, and as a fan of her from way back when I was a kid, it's really cool to see her still fucking working pay-per-views. First time in a steel cage match, I think it's really dope. Another match I'm excited about: Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's World Championship. This has been something that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time. You remember how they used to do this type of thing in NXT. We know that they have chemistry. It's now time to kind of see how that works out. I really like the segment they had on Raw, really showing that Raquel is finally that physical, wrestler that Rhea's been kind of avoiding and trying to avoid this whole time as champion. And now we finally get.
She couldn't get the riptide on her, so I think that's gonna play into the match
Yeah,
that we're gonna see. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, she's gonna have to pull out all the stops to beat her. And again, this isn't David versus Goliath, but the Goliath versus Goliath, and who is going to be kind of the strongest between the two here. You don't see Rhea defend very often, so when you do, it's definitely a must see, right? Like kind of attraction. So to have her on the show is a big deal, especially against Raquel Rodriguez, who they seem to have a lot behind, and they want to do a lot, a lot with her. And with this match, I think it's going to be a great test to see if she's really ready for that spotlight. But I still have Rhea somehow squeaking out a victory against Raquel. I don't think it's that time yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Rhea Ripley. I think she's pretty much big business on every brand, and it's just better. I think knowing how much she is she's like capital H.
Yeah,
Um, I'm sure H is like, nah, we running this till Mania, like for sure,
yeah,
like absolutely. And for everyone who's going to complain about her not having enough matches and not being booked properly, like we gonna show them. So I think Rhea Ripley's gonna run this until Mania at least. At least.
sneaky. A lot of people, the SmackDown belt notwithstanding, a lot of the people who are champions right now have been champions since April, which I don't even think a lot of people have really noticed. But he's giving people some long reigns. Like even Seth, he won it in what, May. He's still rolling around as champ too. I'm wondering when they're gonna kind of decide that it's time to switch the belt off to somebody else. But I got Rhea winning. DMV, what do you think?
Yeah, this is the match I think I'm most excited for on the card. This is a big test for Raquel. I'm getting like Io Bianca vibes from earlier this year at Backlash, where Io was ascending the ranks and was waiting for that big test on that big platform, and then it led to her eventually winning Money in the Bank and then becoming WWE Women's Champion at SummerSlam. So I think, me personally, I've been like an ardent Raquel defender in the ring as a WWE employee, like all that off field stuff. Like I don't want to go and get into that, but if if Raquel doesn't win a championship by the end of 2024, something would have had to go, I think, pretty wrong. So I think this is a this is a big test for her. I got Rhea winning, though it's not her time yet.
Yeah. Again, like I said with this card, a lot of solid matchups that some of them haven't been seen yet. Um, and I think this is definitely the one that carries the most intrigue as far as how far Raquel can go. And really, like, can Rhea kind of recapture that magic that she had at WrestleMania here with a star that she has to essentially, as the ring general here, she has to kind of get Raquel over. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't going to be a squash match. She has to actually make Raquel look strong, and I think she's up to the task. But finally, man, I think they're gonna give it to I think they're gonna give my guy main event, y'all. I think Seth is finally gonna main event a pay per view this year.
It would be wild if he didn't, but yes, I'm assuming all things are cleared. If he comes out and opens the show, I'm gonna be tight.
I am going to hold out hope. The thing is that if it's not him, then his wife is gonna main event. So like I still feel like that's a W for him, but it's also like, no, just give the guy main event. He's gonna main event. I feel like this show. I mean, it's been the most advertised and commercialized portion of Payback thus far, and that is Seth freaking Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth's been going on a stellar run career wise and with the belt. Nakamura, they're rebuilding his character. I'm really loving the vignettes they're doing, showing that he's doing all types of martial arts. He don't give a fuck no more. He's swagged out. He dripped up, and he's ready for mind games. I liked the promo on Monday. I like Seth's fire, and I like Nakamura's swagger and style. It seems as though he's up. It seems like he's like waking up. He's finally back. He kicks Seth right in the damn face.
I'm looking forward to this match nonetheless. You know, back problems and all. They're playing it up very, very well. They're the way they've showcased Nakamura has been exceptional. I think I'm hoping this is more of a genesis for Nakamura than anything, because this is like showing him this real chaotic side. I see that he's put a little bit of blonde dye in his hair.
Yeah.
It seems like he's finding a character like really and finding some footing in what he can actually be on this show and in this company. So I hope this is a real beginning for him, and this match is going to be more than awesome. So I'm looking forward to this match, and kind of seeing where it goes. The wild pick, the chaotic pick. If they decided to go like full JBL Eddie Guerrero thing here,
yeah.
I don't think they'll put it on Shinsuke that much, but I feel like it should end in some sort of like, I don't know. I don't think they really do like pay-per-view ends like that, but I really think it should end in some sort of chaotic nature,
bro.
Somehow.
I think I've been alluding to it. I think the cash-in happens. I think the cash-in happens. I think the Judgment Day lose, and Damian blames Finn, and then he cashes in on
Ooh, that would be tough.
And cashes in on Seth after he wins the match against Nakamura. You can still continue Nakamura Seth that way. You could have Nakamura in the mix still for the World Heavyweight Championship, but you'll also put the Judgment Day right back there. I honestly think the cash in might happen this month because the other briefcase is gone. I don't think they want the briefcase to be in play that long.
Why do they do this thing if they don't want the briefcase to fuck their Mania plans out?
I know.
Like, because I never get it.
Because the question is like, why would Damian not just cash in and do what Seth did at Mania? You know what I mean? Like, I think that ends up being the question. Or why?
Especially if this nigga lumbar is broken in 7 places and shit.
Hey, I know y'all got into an argument about like the back fracture last week. People are working hurt. I don't know if everyone's working with fractures in their back. I don't know. Maybe.
Hey man, listen.
I think
I'm not a doctor.
I think the issue is that like when you watch this, you suspend some level of disbelief. Like, these characters come back every single week and they're fine unless we're told that they're not fine. And I think that's why the Seth thing is a big deal, because he's literally telling us on TV that he's not fine on the actual show. But I really think that if you do the cash in here, it makes this pay-per-view must see. But it also, Fastlane is in like 3 weeks after this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not too long after this. You can realistically have Damian hold this. I just, the only thing is that if they're doing champion and Survivor Series, I cannot see Roman Reigns versus fucking Damian Priest.
I don't think they're going to do champion versus champion in Survivor Series.
You don't?
I think that concept. Yeah, I think that concept is over. or out.
You think Roman will
Rather,
just have a singular or if he works it, he'll have a singular match, or he's gonna work it. He always works before.
yeah. I think they're gonna have a singular match. The only reason I don't think so is because I think they really want to do something Judgment Day related for Survivor Series
Right.
to really put them over as a team, and that's why JD McDonough's part of this entire ordeal, and they'll probably pick up some other straggler or whatever the fuck after the fact. But yeah, I don't know, but I could be wrong.
No,
But I think a cash in would be monumental at this show, though.
yeah, it makes sense to do the cash in here. I think you can have Seth. You know, my thing is like I didn't. It's cool that he got the title. He can win the title 1,000 different times now. You know what I mean? It's cool that he was the first person to have it. I don't think he needs a long run with it. Like I just really don't think that that's something that um is really worth it right now. As it was great that he got that moment though. He got to be the first, and I think that was important than the reign. Whether it ends up going over to Nakamura or Damian Priest or whoever else, there are just so many people, yo, that are just waiting for that title, including those guys. It's Finn, it's Damian, it's fucking Gunther. It's so many people that are waiting for that title. I just don't think one dude should have it this long. It should go to many different people on that show before they get drafted away.
I agree.
So yeah, that is Payback. It seems.
Hold on, I didn't give my.
I'm sorry. My bad. Go ahead, DMV. My bad.
I've loved Shinsuke's promos. I think he's awakened a different beast inside of him. I know a certain member of the HO network, not gonna name him. He hosts a show on this network though, so I'm not gonna throw his name out there. But he said he might be washed. I don't think Shinsuke's washed. I think we're gonna get a great match. I think Seth's gonna win it though. But I do like you guys' cash-in idea. The inception of this World Heavyweight Championship came about because they wanted to give other wrestlers opportunities, like as you mentioned, Finn, Shinsuke, Damien, Gunther. So I think it'd be a good opportunity to crown someone new, give someone new an opportunity right as NFL season's about to start, where you want as many eyeballs as you can. So I got Seth, but look out for that cash in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is Payback. Watch out for the surprise. You'll never see it coming. Watch out for that surprise. But I want to thank first and foremost DMV fan for being such a great third host today. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Oh, thank you. So I'd like to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to be on such an enormous podcast. I know a lot of ears are going to be on this because there always are when you guys talk about CM Punk and AEW drama. So I'm glad you guys made me feel welcome, made me feel comfortable. Uh, you know, I'd like to give a couple of shout outs. Cyrus Kwan, love you. Listen to the War Report. Love all you guys at the Rewriters Room. Armand, Channing, CC. Subscribe to Black Wrestling. Watch the Stay Busy Trish Stratus interview with Armand. Watch Nick Carter's and Catering. And watch the Black Announce Table. Hey, Manny, if you're listening to this, please forgive me. Please.
Manny does listen to this actually, so I'll send the word his way. Thank you, DMV. Thank you for being a Hall of Fame patron, and just thank you for supporting us and just being a great member of our community. Like, we appreciate all of you guys. Seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. This has been great, and of course, thank you guys for listening. It's always great talking to you guys every single week. So make sure you check out Payback and what's left of All Out this weekend, and we'll be back next week to talk about everything that's happening in wrestling. It's fall season. Usually, it's kind of rough. We'll see what H has for us. Last year's fall season wasn't that bad, but this one, I don't know. We'll see what happens after Payback. I want to thank you guys for listening. Of course, listen to the War Report this week. We're Cyrus and Quan. We're talking about all the happenings from All In. Whatever happens after we record the show, as always, there's news that drops every time we hit stop on recording. So they'll be talking about that on Friday, and we'll be talking about everything else that happened next week on the show. So for DMV Fan and for Meelz, I am Justin. Thank you guys for listening to the A Show, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.